Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Deep True Crime. In this episode, I want to dive into the case of the true crime enthusiast who loves to follow true crime, who loves to dig deep into true crime books, killed out of curiosity. As to why someone would do this, we don't really know. She does apologize to the family, but the curiosity got the best of her. And so we're going to dive into this story. What do we know at this time? You see, this is why we do this channel. Because we live in a world that you just never know what a person is capable of. Who would have thought that a true crime enthusiast was more interested in it because she was curious as to what does that feel like to be the perpetrator. You see, these type of stories is what give true crime creators like myself a bad name. Because this leads others to believe like, hey, if a person is capable of following this stuff so much, what other weird tendencies do they have? It's probably a legit question. I really don't know. I am not in the mind of all these true crime creators, so I really can't speak for them. But I can tell you one thing. The number one focus of this channel right here is to keep you aware of what could go wrong in this crazy world we live in. Who would have thought someone actually wanted to know what it feels like to be the bad guy? And so they did it. Well, let's go ahead and dive into the story of Jung Yoo Jung, who wanted to feel what it feels like to be the bad guy. And so now she stands in jail, waiting for her day in court. But this is our story. Globally, individuals, they have this fondness for true crime criminal cases. However, this young woman, a 23-year-old from South Korea, took her curiosity to an extreme level, transforming it into an all-consuming fixation, which, as per law enforcement officials, prompted her to commit a murder in order to experience its sensations. Jung Yoo Jung, she faces charges for the killing of a young woman in her 20s in Busan. That's where the young lady had lived. However, what sets Yoo Jung apart from other criminals is the unsettling composed demeanor that she displayed while revealing the intricate details of her heinous act, leaving authorities utterly bewildered. On Thursday, June 8th, 2023, Yoo Jung's identity became public knowledge, but we find now that she allegedly committed this murder on May 26th of 2023. And reports indicate that the victim was a university student and a freelance tutor. The alleged killer approached her under the guise of a concerned parent. So she calls her up after finding her on a tutoring app, and she says, I need English lessons for my child. And so to conceal her true intentions, she goes online and buys a school uniform and disguised herself as a student before visiting the victim's residence. And so the victim, she probably thought the person knocking at the door was a middle school girl looking for some help after speaking to her mother. And so this happens in this pretty city of Japan and in South Korea, After carrying out the murder, Yoo Jung, she was captured on security cameras transporting a suitcase from her own home to the victim's location, where she later disposed of the body by dismembering it. After killing the tutor Jung, she allegedly proceeded to a store to buy bleach and trash bags before returning to dismember the body. Now, authorities, they say that She then called a taxi and took some of the victim's body parts in a suitcase to a remote woodland area by the Nakdong River. The taxi driver reportedly became suspicious after Jung going into the bushes with a suitcase after midnight. And so he found that suspicious, and he does the right thing and he contacts law enforcement. And so police said, in order to make it look like the victim had disappeared, Jung kept the victim's mobile phone, ID card, and wallet, attempting to commit a perfect crime. But when she was questioned by police, she initially told officers that she had accidentally killed the victim in an argument. But she later confessed after investigators found inconsistencies in her story and her family, encouraging her to tell the truth. She finally comes clean. Now, we also find out that there were some more remains of the victim's body that were found at her house, Yoo Jung's house. That's according to the police. And so, prior to departing from the victim's residence, she alters her attire because there's blood stains on that uniform that she bought online to look like a student. And so she changes her clothes because of getting blood stains on her uniform. Now, again, Jung Yoo Jung, she's confessed to the killing of the unidentified freelance photographer in the bustling port city of Busan. And very pretty looking city from the outside looking in, lots of tall buildings, and just by looking at this image, you can see it's a very pretty city. Now, I don't know the crime rate around there, but I bet you this tutor did not know that this person knocking at her door could possibly be a bad person looking to take their life. Now, some believe that the reason behind this killing is due to jealousy, due to envy, due to finding her online and picking her target as someone she felt she was a little jealous of. We don't really know the whole motive, as she is currently not saying much. Very little has she shared in this. But in order to gain access to the victim's home and carrying out the assault, she adopts the persona of a 9th grade student seeking private English lessons. And so she herself has been unemployed since graduating from high school 5 years ago, but she has been formally charged with this murder. The police stated that Jung's actions were premeditated and driven by her desire to end someone's life, which emerged from an obsession with murder fostered by television programs and books. Now, authorities, they have confirmed that they are conducting psychopathy evaluations on the accused individual who, again, she openly acknowledged her fixation on murder. Now, this youthful, only 23 years old, she's an enthusiast of crime narratives. She confessed to murdering and dismembering the other woman. Her identity of the woman who has been her life being taken away, her identity has not been named at this time. I'm not too sure why. Maybe it's out there and I just need to dig a little deeper. But at the same time, we still want to say rest in peace to her. Rest in peace to this young tutor who was taken from this world way too soon by someone who wanted to live out her fantasy simply because she did this out of curiosity to experience firsthand what that feels like after following all these true crime books, all these documents, and we continue to find out more in this heinous crime. Now, the Busan police, they did disclose that the woman who, again, was apprehended on Wednesday had a deep fascination with crime stories and a desire to witness this reality of murder. And so, the unemployed high school graduate, she admitted to doing this to the unnamed freelance tutor as she was formally charged with the offense. Now, initially, the young crime aficionado informed the police that she killed her victim after a dispute. That's what she first said. However, upon further investigation and being urged by her family to tell the truth, she confesses to the police. Now, the alleged killer, she faced public condemnation after reportedly admitting that she killed the victim without any personal connection to her, solely driven by her curiosity about murder. Now, considering the gravity and brutality of her crime, the Busan Metropolitan Police Agency, they released her name, age, and facial photograph, which I have shown you. Considering that everything she's done, they felt like, hey, we're not going to keep this private. We're going to release what we know, because it definitely looks like this unemployed girl who has not had a job since completing high school 5 years ago. We're going to put her out there. We're going to let people know what she did. And especially to find out that she has no personal relationship at all and has extensively researched homicide case online, and through all these TV programs and novels, she tried to get away with the perfect murder. And so authorities, they have confirmed that they were conducting assessments to see whether she exhibits any psychopathic traits, because we did find out that this is premeditated, motivated by a desire to kill someone after she became obsessed with all this true crime stuff. And so it's also said that Jung also did express remorse for her actions, and added that tests were being conducted to see maybe she is a psychopath, because now she's having remorse. Maybe it's a momentary lapse of reasoning. I don't know what could cause a person to flip and think they can even get away with this. Truth is, we do know that people get away with this. We do know that. Not everyone, but a lot. More than we even know. Look at all these cold cases that never get solved. And so examination of the alleged killer's phone records revealed that she had spent the preceding 3 months extensively searching the internet for advice on concealing a deceased body. And her library records provided further support to the police's theory. It indicated that she had borrowed numerous crime novels in the months leading up to the incident, suggesting that she had used these literary works and television shows as a form of research on how to get away with a perfect murder. And so she utilizes this app that's designed to connect private tutors with parents. And so Jung identified her target, and so then she poses as a mother of a 9th grade student seeking English lessons. She makes contact with the victim. And so after a mutual agreement, it was arranged for the supposed daughter to visit the tutor's residence for a consultation 2 days later. And so that's when she goes a step further to complete her deceptive act and impersonate the alleged daughter. Convincingly, she purchases a school uniform online. However, as soon as the victim opens up the door and this perp gains entry into the woman's home, she initiates a knife attack and starts stabbing her. Rest in peace to this young tutor taken from this world way too soon. Authorities, they have concluded from the evidence that the murder and dismemberment were meticulously premeditated. Now, that's where it's what all of this, you got the phone records that show that she spent time actually doing her research to try to get away with this, searching the internet on how to conceal a deceased body. And so that's why all of this documentation that she brought on her own showed her intent to do this heinous act. And that's where we find that there was blood-stained garments that were discovered inside the retrieved suitcase by the police. As you can see in this picture, the suitcase that was seen with her walking to the authorities' place. And, you stop and you think about this heinous act. And you really never think like, wow, out of curiosity, who would do such a thing, right? But truth is, what we want to know is, does she really feel remorse? Or is it more that she just wanted to just do it because it was inside of her to be capable of this? Was it going to lead to more if she never gets caught? Let me know in the comments what you think. Was this something bigger inside of her brewing? How do you suppose she felt when it was done? Did she really have any remorse? Because that is the question of the day. Did she? And you can see when she was being taken out from there. But blood-stained garments, they were discovered inside that retrieved suitcase. The remaining fragments of the body were located within Jung's residence. You can see the chilling footage right here on your screen. And then you can see where she placed her victim's body parts before dumping them at the banks of the river. Now, according to authorities, Jung has been living as a recluse and social isolate, unemployed since completing high school 5 years ago. And Jung, as you saw here, being escorted from the police detention center on June 9th of this past Friday, right there, to her court appearance. Now, in response to reporters, that's when she expressed, right there as you can see, deep remorse for the victim's family, stating, "I genuinely feel immense sorrow for the victim's family." And when she was questioned about her motive for attempting to conceal the murder, she replied, "I believe I lost my sanity." Something along those lines. But who could do such a thing? Unfortunately, we do know that it happens, don't we? And what we don't know is what brings a person to do this. In this particular case, she says she was curious what it would feel like to do this unthinkable. And I want to tell you, if you have these feelings, I don't really know what you can do to get rid of those feelings. I just pray and hope you don't act on those feelings. Because I don't understand the human body. I don't understand what makes us do some of the things that we do. I'm not perfect. I can look back on a lot of things in my life and say, man, I wish I didn't do that. But nothing. I could never, ever, ever go back and picture a time that I felt like I wanted to do this unthinkable. So I ask, I don't understand, but please do whatever you can to conquer that feeling. If you're experiencing what Jung Yoo Jung was experiencing, because it led her to act on this heinous crime. And at the end of the day, this is not about me. This is about justice for the victims. This is about being a voice for the victims. Because this young tutor did not deserve to be taken from this world at this young age. And from what we have learned, though we don't know much about the victim, we do know she was a young tutor. Maybe she was still in college. Maybe this was ways to make a little extra money. But why would this girl do that? We don't know. But I want to tell you again, gotta be careful of who you're letting through that door. I don't know how this could have been prevented. Maybe this app needs to verify every single person that applies. Because truth is, it's like a dating app. You don't know who's the person that you're agreeing to meet. And as I've done a lot of these true crime stories, some of them have been around dating app killers. You meet someone online. This is the same situation. Met someone online through a tutoring app. A person just wanted some lessons. But what if this app took her ID, verified everything before letting her contact one of their users? I don't know if this app is going to be held responsible. I don't even know which app it was. What I do know is that this should not have happened. Where did this go wrong? But at the same time, this girl was probably going to figure out another way to fill her desire to commit this act. My friends, that's why I do this, because these victims deserve another voice. As humans, we come on this earth and our lives are not supposed to be taken from someone else. But we know that it happens. It can still happen to me before I die. It can still happen to you. I pray it doesn't. But I want to say, please be careful. It is a crazy world we live in. You never know who you're trusting. But sometimes they can really hide their ugliness. I'm Manny Rodriguez. This has been another episode of Deep True Crime. My friends, if this is the type of content you like to follow, please hit that subscribe button. That way you get to follow my content. And if you hit that like, that tells YouTube you got some value from this content. Hey, show it to more people. My goal, this is not about me. This is about being a voice for the victims and being a voice for you. Have a great day, my friends. I look forward to serving you and being a voice for the victims again. Peace. Have a great day.